initial investigations revealed that the shooting was as a result of a feud between two rival criminal gangs.
The Commissioner of Police speaks out after 8 people are shot in a club overnight. The Prime Minister remembers a close friend. And a mother whose son almost drowned yesterday stops by our studios. The Bahamas Tonight starts now.
Covering the islands of the Bahamas, ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Good evening and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. I'm Kishla Adderley. Thanks for joining us. Topping the news tonight, police now have a murder investigation on their hands following a nightclub melee in which 9 people were shot. 1 man is dead and 2 are fighting for their lives, along with 5 others in stable condition. All victims of what police suspect was a gang war at the East Bay and Mackey Street night spot Borders. Now, police have relaunched Rapid Strike as they make a series of arrests to try and bring all the suspects to justice. Our Shanique Miller has the latest on the investigation into the shooting spree.
Since this morning, police have scoured neighborhoods and communities to find those responsible for the mayhem at Ballers nightclub at 2 o'clock this morning. So far, 22 men have been taken into custody. The youngest, 17. The oldest, 54.
Our initial investigations revealed that the shooting was as a result of a feud between 2 rival criminal gangs. Subsequent to the shooting, the police arrested 7 males between the ages of 17 and 42. And a short while ago, an additional 15 persons, ages 17 to 54, all males, were arrested in the Kemp Road area. The group of 7, which I referred to initially, was arrested at Nassau Village.
The investigation is far from over. Commissioner of Police Ellison Greenslade expects that several more arrests will follow. At the center of this bloodbath, 34-year-old Nassau Village resident Julian Colley, also known as Heads, and Ridgeland Park West resident, 37-year-old Stephen Dye Stubbs.
Particular emphasis and focus will also be placed on groups of young men, ordinarily referred to as gangs in our communities, and organized crime groups who continue to cause problems. I'm also going to be petitioning so that we might revisit all of these licenses that have been issued, and I stand firmly on the point. Despite how unpopular it might be, we cannot allow business establishments to remain open into the wee hours of the morning, 3, 4, and 5 a.m., and attract the ilk of nefarious goons that seek to ply their criminal deeds.
The victim is a 21-year-old man. 2 remain in critical condition, and 5, including a woman, are in stable condition. Since this morning, many have called for a curfew as a resolution to the escalating crime. Greenslade says the police force is not looking to establish a curfew as the Bahamas is a democracy.
We have relaunched in a new format. Rapid Strike has been asked to seek out and arrest prolific offenders that continue to commit crimes in our communities.
As of today, there are 59 murders on record for 2012, 5 more than this time last year. Greenslade says there were several guns used and possibly more than one shooter.
Where there are groups of people masquerading around this country, committing crime, we are going to be resolute in interdicting the activities that we perceive or we see, and we're inviting the public to call and tell us, and we will respond.
Greenslade says despite the murder count being 5 more than it was this time last year, he and his officers will not be distracted by the violence. He vowed that the police force will continue its fight against crime. Shanique Miller, ZNS News.
Now, there were 8 victims of that shooting and not 9, as we said earlier. Meantime, one of the victims was reportedly shot inside the nightclub, which raises security concerns for both patrons and employees. Carla Palmer talked with Assistant Commissioner of Police responsible for crime, Anthony Ferguson, just hours after the shooting.
The officers at premises, I can say that.
But it's uncertain whether they did screenings. Would you be able to respond to that?
It's difficult to say because the investigation is very early. I think you have to give us an opportunity to conduct further investigations. There are a number of things we are looking at, angles, and as soon as we are done, we'll be able to be well informed.
Royal Bahamas Police Force officers are calling their island-wide Whit Monday holiday operation successful. Altavis Munnings was along as police spoke to would-be criminals and reassured the public with their presence.
The holiday police tour started shortly after 3 p.m. on Whit Monday as the group left police headquarters south on East Street. Almost immediately, police stopped a motorist who had appeared to have parked on the side of the street. The first stop on the holiday police operation was here on Meadow Lane, right off East Street, where ACB Bethel and his officers spoke with residents of this area and were welcomed with open arms.
What we want to do, all the areas that we have serious crimes happening in, we want to come in and put our base in the area to make sure that anything happens, we are right here on the ground.
They even have big show to this corner, so I think they're doing good stuff in the community.
Anytime you need us, please call, we'll be happy to come.
Southern Division officers checked a number of vehicles at the intersection of Soldier Road and the entrance to Nassau Village. Tickets were issued for tinted windows, no license plates, loud music, and motorists wearing no seat belts.
We will set up in the community. If we have a drug house in the area where persons are moving about, we will set up right across the street from them to disrupt the criminal activities.
Heading further east, our next stop was at Yamacraw and Prince Charles Drive, where beachgoers were enjoying their holiday while officers were checking for any potential criminal activity.
Our main areas within this particular section of the Eastern Division, the Yamacraw area, going down into Sandlands Village, is primarily housebreaking. And we also, in the Foxwood area, we have some drugs and firearms issues there.
I went by Montague Beach, there was the bridge. And I was shocked here because this is the first time I was ever seeing the roadblock or whatever here on a holiday.
Police were busy monitoring the traffic adjacent to Montague Beach on the Whit Monday holiday.
We realized that during the holidays, a number of drivers normally consume excessive amount of alcohol, resulting in serious accidents occurring.
Southern Division officers were assigned to monitor the Saunders Beach area, which was buzzing with activity.
You notice we're in the area of the beach here. We're also asking parents to pay attention to their kids, don't allow them to venture too far in the waters, and we're enforcing the road traffic roads this afternoon.
The most populated area of Nassau on Whit Monday was Arawak Key, where Central Division Head Superintendent Stephen Dean ensured that law and order was enforced.
We know that crime is a major concern, and we believe that reducing the fear of crime, police presence and visibility will reduce the fear of crime. Based on what we hear from the residents this evening, today, the complimentary remarks that we're giving. So Bahamian public are very in support of what we are doing.
By just coming in and seeing what we do, give us a little more motivation that, look here, that we know that we have you on our side.
ACB Bethel assures residents here in New Providence that they will not only see a heavy police presence this Whit Monday holiday, but the upcoming Labor Day holiday as well. Officers here in New Providence encourage any resident who has any information on any crime to contact their nearest police station immediately. Altavis Munnings, ZNS News.
Financial Services Minister Ryan Pinder says he's looking to activate a more efficient system to get the roadworks completed. He told our Janea Noel Ferguson about what changes may come about in their pending review.
The government plans to review the New Providence Road Improvement Project to ensure that as the project finishes, it impacts drivers, businesses, and the overall economy as little as possible. Minister of Financial Services Ryan Pinder, who helped to compile the comprehensive public accounts report on the project while in opposition, says while they do not intend to stop the project, they do plan to make it more efficient.
Any responsible government coming into office on the heels of that report being issued that was based entirely on fact, it is the right thing to take a look at the design, the construction, how it's going, who may be at fault for some of the cost overruns and the delays, and get a good understanding of that. Because frankly, yes, we had an understanding in the Public Accounts Committee, but it's a different understanding when you're government, and that project is so large, running up to almost 100% over budget, delayed more than a year. Any responsible government would take a close look at the internal dynamics of it.
With the project almost 80% complete, Minister Pinder said changes could still possibly take place.
We see a lot of times businesses are restricted because of how the roads have been designed, the sidewalks have been designed. Access to their businesses are restricted. Access to homes have been restricted. We have these islands and these berms in the middle of these roads that might pose a risk and a danger to vehicular traffic. These types of design elements of the road can still be reviewed and looked at.
Moving forward, Mr. Prinder said that the government will manage the project in the best interests of the community at large.
These types of things have to be looked at and reviewed just so we have a full understanding of where we are as a government and where the road project is. Like I said, I don't envision stopping the roads. The roads have to be completed. But they have to be completed in a fashion that's for the best interest of Bahamians.
Janae Noel Ferguson, ZNS News.
There's more talk about tax reform. Here's what Minister Pinder says about the prospect.
Tax reform and tax policy as a whole isn't necessarily singularly focused on raising government revenues. You can utilize a tax policy as well to stimulate economic development in a country. So as we move towards reforming the tax code and looking at options and opportunities to reforming the tax system in the Bahamas, you want to do so in light of allowing for opportunities economically and entrepreneurially for Bahamians, as well as what's the most efficient way to raise government revenue. They can work hand in hand, and they should work hand in hand.
Well, still to come in the Bahamas tonight, the Prime Minister remembers a colleague and friend. That story is still to come.